Hey, it's Drybear. I've spent a ridiculous amount of gold trying to look for new builds, respecking, re-imprinting, re-rolling items to make my build better or to make a brand new build that I'm trying to make work. But there's one secret tip that I've been using to help gear my new builds as I progress through them that I'd like to share with you today. But first, this week marks new drops on Twitch for Diablo 4. This week's theme is the Sorcerer or Sorceress. You can get a back attachment transmog and a staff transmog exclusive to the Sorc, available on Twitch. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by and for free, just watch for 3 hours, you'll get the first item, unlock it and watch for 3 hours, you'll get the second. You can leave the stream open. As long as you have it open, you'll be able to make progress, and just make sure you collect the first item so that the second item will start progressing, because it won't count your time until you actually claim the first item. But these are available for this week and this week only. Okay, so if you're caught up on how to gear your character, you know that it is the stats on the item that make the item, especially with the imprinting system in Diablo 4, along with enchanting and re-rolling. You can very easily modify good items, but the hard part is finding an item that is well rolled and has good stats on it that work for the build that you have. So the eternal struggle is in the hunt for yellow items of high base item power that have 4 or 3 of the good stats that you want for your build. Then you just take a good legendary power, imprint that item, and you have a good item. So the question becomes, how do we go about finding good quality yellow items that we can use as base for making our best in slot gear? Now you can find these anywhere. You can go into the overworld, you can do Helltide, open the mystery chests, you get specific chests for Helltide, you can do nightmare dungeons, world bosses, weekly caches, tree of whispers. All of these drop loot, and the harder content you do, the better the items on average are going to be when you drop. But there's another parallel that exists that is an actual good source of quality yellow items that I don't see a lot of people taking advantage of. And that is the in-game vendor system. Generally, people will just go to the vendors to sell items if they need to, but this is actually on a rotating timer and will present new items based on the type of vendor that will be yellow or blue. However, because we're in the business of trading good quality yellows, we can come here and check for good quality yellows on the vendors. Now, most of the time you're going to come here and it's going to be junk. It's either going to be a tier that you don't want or doesn't have the stats on it. But sometimes, every other hour or so, I come here and I actually have found about 3 or 4 almost perfect items sitting on the vendor for like 500, 600,000 gold, just waiting to be grabbed and waiting to be imprinted and re-rolled. Now, right now I'm working on how to make overpower work as a mechanic versus just vulnerable and crit, which we know already is very powerful. And I've been looking for a lot of overpower damage, lucky hit chance, resource cost / resource generation, fortify generation, and max life for items. And I've been able to find items like this just sitting on a vendor with all the stats that I need that I could very easily re-roll and upgrade. So what I would do as you're doing the open world activities, you're going across the map, you're doing Helltides, coming out of nightmare dungeons, every time you come back to town, come to the 3 vendors and see what they have on offer. Check the stats. What you're looking for is an excellent item would have it would have 3 of the stats you're looking for in that slot, and there's a 4th dead stat that doesn't matter because you can re-roll it. You can even find items that have 2 of your main stats. You can re-roll a 3rd, and it's an excellent stand-in until you get a better item. And you'll notice on the bottom left of the vendor screen, there is a new stock delivery timer. This happens every single hour, and they will rotate the items that are available on the vendor. Again, it's going to be pure random, but checking this regularly, you'll be shocked by what you find on these vendors. There's going to be a weapons vendor that can have offhands as well, an armor vendor for gear, and then of course there's the accessories vendor next to the jeweler in every town. I will save you the trouble. These aren't different per town. This is a global stock offering for all vendors of this type in all of Sanctuary. So you can't do what you can in previous Diablos and hop town to town looking for items. But you can very easily, every time you tea and go back to town, check the vendors to see if there's anything good or anything worthwhile. Even just making this video on the off chance, I found a 751 wand that has crit damage, crit strike damage with bone skills, and you can re-roll it on a 3rd if you wanted to have a 3 out of 4 item with decent numbers and stats. And you can get this right as you enter into your new tier and check the vendors. So do this often. I've found some very good items through this process, And I wanted to make sure that you are aware and focusing on this as you try and get more and more best in gear slots for your character. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.